Welcome back to Backroom Convos. I'm your host at the moment, Lesego M, report, aka Shoot Your Short, and maybe you might get a chance to call me Daddy like Cairo. We don't have a song of the day today, but there's a lot to unpack. I think first and foremost, I'm very aware, pretty much aware of what really today, not yesterday, it was election day. So today people are just busy going through the numbers and doing some analysis of like the leading parties and so forth. And I think I saw the numbers in the morning and I had a lot of questions in mind. I had a lot of questions to ask, but I think the one question I had in particular was, what's the possibility of these elections being rigged? I think if we do have anybody that's like who is very knowledgeable when it comes to like is it IEC? Yeah, I think it's the IEC and like the protocol and how watertight that entire thing is, because for a lot of people, I thought maybe in these elections, but I thought in these elections, let me just say this, I thought in these elections ANC would come out in second, third place. To my surprise, I wake up ANC is leading the elections, it's leading, and I think DA is number 2. With DA though, I felt like there was a bit of I don't know what's the word, but I think I did have a sense of what they might, come out at second place, given that I saw like the numbers in the UK of people who were voting internationally, and I was like, oh, these are like a lot of people, and also taking this in mind, already DA has a lot of numbers within the borders of South Africa, so if there were numbers outside of South Africa, there was few who were voting ANC, there were few that were voting EFF. I didn't see it. I don't think I saw EFF. I think I saw MK, Mkhodoisi, a political party, Jacob Zuma. So I think I saw those in international, in the international news platforms. I saw those, and I was like, hey, okay, DA stands a chance. And someone was saying, and this particular someone is affiliated with ANC, and you're saying like the ANC vote were divided amongst MK and the EFF, and I feel like there's some truth to it, because like DA might as well take it, you know what I mean? DA might as well take it, and I can't stop but question like, what's the possibility out of 100 that these might be rigged? Or I'm just in question, because but they are saying I'm not familiar with this entire process. I'm not a huge fan of politics, and I didn't vote, I didn't register, and truly speaking, I don't even have a reason as to why I didn't register or why I didn't vote. I don't have that reason. Then I think somehow though, I don't know, also I feel like there's still the thing, I think there's a lot of misinformation that's being spread around the area of, even if you don't vote, that doesn't go to, I think coming up, I knew if you don't, vote for EFF, you don't vote for or DA, the leading party or the ruling party gets your vote automatically. That one, I don't know if that makes any sense. They get your vote automatically. So a part of me is is that still true though? Is that still true? And if so, how do we then make sure that people are aware? Because I think there's more misinformation about nobody is taking it, because yesterday I think I was in conversation with someone and they're like, no, that wasn't true, there's misinformation. So I was like, for all these years I thought that was true, only to find out that it wasn't true. So I'm like, but yet again I'm not sure the source, like I'm not sure of the source, and I'm like, where do we go to actually find out what happens, or like, who is relaying that message to the people, who's the bridge between the people and the political party, and to make sure there's no misinformation that's being spread about the elections. So that's my point, and I felt like ANC winning isn't because of the huge numbers they had. I think it's mainly because there's a lot of people, or a chunk of people, who didn't vote, and by so saying, like, if they didn't vote, people like me who didn't vote, they automatically vote for ANC, because their vote automatically goes to the ruling party being ANC. I think that's one reason I might justify the position of ANC being number one, outside of saying the elections were being rigged, or the elections are rigged, So yeah, man, I think, do let me know what you think on the comment section. I think this is a very interesting conversation that I'm having with you now. Like, I know there's a lot of thoughts around the elections, and but I think, do let me know what you guys think, because I think I scrutinized it, but because I also don't have all the facts to back whatever that I'm saying, like, it's hard to make a stance to say like this is true, or that's why I'm phrasing it as a question to say, what's the possibility that might be true, or that might happen? Because also you have to look at the political dynamic and the power dynamic within our political infrastructure or system. You'd find the elites, you find the Menel family, the Mazotti, the Herzovs, of this world. Because I think I remember saying this, like the first time that I heard that Jacob Zuma started starting a political party, it's from Rob Herzog. For those of you who don't know Rob Herzog, can we please just, excuse me for that, just Google who Rob Herzog is. So I had the news from Rob Herzog, and I'm like, okay, so like all these people, clearly they do have a hand in like decision making in our country. And I think one of the questions that Julius went in my head was like, if we want to take out the ANC or to rebuild, we need to like take the ANC out of the picture. And I think one of the questions that he was asking, to say like, I don't know if that's true, to say he was asking Uguti where the Kodesa minutes, and Mandela, when he went out of prison, he went to stay in one of the guys that are rich, like one of the elites in South Africa, those guys that are money, so they stayed in like one of the houses, and there's no, Kodesa minutes, and truly we don't know Uguti what they had arranged or agreed upon between the ANCs and the elites, the Stellenbosch mafias. We don't really have the content. We don't. So I felt like I was with Malema when he said it, like by removing them, dismantling the agreement that they had, of which it's the one at the same time I feel like it's breaking the country, So if dismantling that meant dismantling the party as a whole, I think that's the way to go, So I feel like there's a certain level of truth that lies beyond. I think there's some truth that people are not exposed to, not a lot of people are exposed to, but those guys who were within that meeting, the Kodesa meeting, I don't know like exactly who was a part of that meeting, but the people who are within that meeting, I think they're the people that understand what's happening, or the power dynamic, or the agreement, and who has to abide by the agreement that they have, or what. So I think also that's because we are working blind, we are walking blind. We don't know what's happening within our own country and like few people, and the fact that people are not even questioning that to say like what happened or like let's follow up. Who's supposed to give you the minutes? And these are the minutes. This is what was said, and it's not being made public. And a lot of people have things to say about Madiba. Like I know, like there's a lot of people who don't like him, but I think if people were to be more transparent as to what happened, then you would kill all the speculation that are negative about firstly Madiba and his loyalty. So sometimes I feel like a little can be done to make sure you carve, like you make sure whatever negativity or whatever that's bad that's being said as far as like PR, you make sure you dismantle it in the beginning stages, and like you make sure just by being transparent and just if there's paperwork, the minutes, whatever, you just lay it out to say this is what happened, these are the minutes, this is the agenda of that meeting, and this is what we arranged between us, the black people, Labo Madiba, whoever the case may be, and them, whoever they are, who are part of the Kodesa people, they get the minutes. And I'm like, we could just do that, and everything could be very much smooth, because like there's conspiracy theories, and you're like, oh okay, like, and there's a lot of people who are like making up stories, and some of them you're like, oh, this might be true. It makes it makes a little bit of sense, if I may, So I think if you wanted to make sure what he did doesn't exist, it's just by being transparent. I feel like we would be somewhere as a country, and I feel like within the ranks, ANC ranks, I don't have a problem with position. I don't have a problem with position, but my only problem is using position to suppress the ideas, to suppress the ideas of the people that like I think using the position that was meant to empower to suppress the very people you're supposed to empower. I guess that's what I was trying to say. So I think they can stay, but like how can you make them stay but change the leaders within that structure, and like just kill that thing Ramaphosa and everything, and anyone who's affiliated or has attachments to the Minel family, to the Hazovs, to the Ruperts, just to mention a few, So I think, how do we then decide, okay, we are going to set out to make sure that this thing doesn't go, because it's cancer, you find that like majority of the political parties are, funded by those the Rupert families, funding some of these smaller parties such as the Egg. I think Bosa is also a part of that. So like I'm saying, Guti, if you want full independence, you won't get it if there's one person who holds a huge portion and who holds a huge part of the share. Like you don't have control, because ultimately they run it because they own majority of the shares within that, And also, if you say Bosa, you're like, okay, like if they're funding you, what do they have as a return on investment? What's the return on investment really? And is it public knowledge that you guys are being sponsored, or your donors are those guys that are known to be funding the ANC, to be funding DA, to be funding, EFF, not really the Ruperts, but the Mazotis? Like, I know EFF, it's public knowledge, but I don't know with these other parties, smaller parties. So I'm like, maybe let's first establish ground. Okay, maybe let's not support the idea of parties, or not support the idea of parties having donors at the beginning, because we don't know the agenda now, because now you're being funded and these people are making an investment and they hope to cash up in the future to say, okay, like we invested in this, now we are here to collect and this is what we want, A, B, and C. That's the biggest fear, to say like we are just changing the face, but you are just changing the face, or we are just changing the political party, but deep down the system or how the governance of the country as a whole is still ran the same way. So I don't know if the ANC is fixable, but at this point anything is worth a try. It's worth a try. And I know like there's people who are saying there's hypocrites within that, because they said we are voting EFF, but you find that DA is in second place and ANC is in first, and you're like, well, what was the agreement for social media? Or so those like are some of the things that you were looking at. I'm like, it's very interesting to see. Like maybe let's give it a chance, and maybe on the later on episode of the day, yes, we're having a later on episode, we'll talk about the updates, the numbers, and cool, maybe if ANC is in second place or whatever the case may be, we'll get to talk about that when we come back later on in the show. I think on everything that I had to say today, I think I spent a lot of time. I think we also had to speak about Camila Cabello, saying that he loves Drake, and that's why he has a whole song within her album. He has his own song within her album. And I don't know, but even that, we are done with politics, by the way. I don't know if that is him cashing out a favor to say like, yo, I need PR, and when you are like the perfect person, like you don't have any debts within your name and your brand, and like obviously Drake has the reach, like don't get it twisted, he has the reach, and you're like, oh, we preach to the same pop audience, and it makes more sense if I come to you and do that or ask for a favor or whatever the case may be. I don't know what's the strategy behind that, but that happened over the weekend, or yesterday. It wasn't weekend, yesterday. I saw that yesterday that he's Camila Cabello, the album is coming. I forgot the title of the album, but yeah, man, do let me know what you think on that, both the political element of the segment and the Drake part of it. We spoke about Drake and Camila Cabello, so do let me know what you think about it on the comment section. I'm your host at the most, Lesego M, the Report, aka Shoot Your Shot, and maybe you might get a chance to call me Daddy like Cairo. Let's meet later on Backroom Convos. Please do not forget to follow, subscribe, and rate the podcast to get a notification for each and every time we drop a new episode. 8 p.m. we are dropping another episode. Have a lovely day. Cheers.